I want to thank everyone for joining me this afternoon. Appreciate the members of the City Council coming in that I'm formally presenting to the City Council the tentative 2023 operating budget. I'm required to present that by October 1st, and the Council is required to adopt it by November 1st. And there's really no Friday afternoon hidden agenda within the budget. It's a budget of stability and continues, again, many of the good things that are happening within the city of Schenectady. I want to thank the council, want to thank city staff and department heads for the work they do every day helping prepare this budget, especially Commissioner Ferrari, Deputy Commissioner Derek Ukamuk, Liz Nelson, Alex Sutherland, and John Coluccio, who's making this all look good and much more presentable on the screen today. The city's success and the things that are happening here are really based on partnerships and friendships that we have working together. This slide only encompasses part of the people that are in this community who are working together to try and make things better, and it's really an impressive record that we have compiled over the last decade and a half. If you look at the economic development that's continuing today, we're bouncing back from the disruptions that were caused by COVID. We've got a new building going at 31 Lafayette Street. The SI Group is moving 125 employees to Mohawk Harbor. The $120 million renovation of the former Yates Village, which is being rebranded as Northside Village, is continuing. Recently, the demo of 2 vacant buildings on Van Vranken Avenue, where the old Ritz restaurant was. We have the renovation of 500 State Street, really getting converted over to Ortho New York and some other medical practitioners in there. The new building at 501 State Street, $22 million renovation of the former Elmer Avenue School. Just some of the recaps of things that are happening. So far in this year, we have generated over $1 million in permit fees, which represent over $32 million in actual construction costs. So you can see that there's a lot of activity that's happening within the community. We're investing in our neighborhood parks. The main focus of that, of course, is our new pool project in Central Park, which is being done in conjunction with upgrading on the A-diamond lighting, some of the parking and walkways within Central Park, also doing upgrades at Jerry Burrell Park, Hillhurst, and Riverside, which will create recreational opportunities in our city and really value in our neighborhoods. Today I wanted to just talk briefly about cybersecurity and past budget reviews. The council has not spent much time on that publicly, so it's that there's reasons not to discuss things. A few years ago, our cybersecurity insurance I think ran a little over $11,000. I'm putting in the budget this year at $28,000, if in fact we can get it. The market is shifting so dramatically. Just last month we had 181 attempts through virus attacks that were prevented by our firewalls. We had 313 cyber threats, which including attempts of malware, ransomware, and potential unwanted applications within our network were averted. City staff receives about 3,350 phishing emails per month. That's like 240 a day. Now, most of those, it's like 99%, are stopped on the firewalls in the precautions that we take. But there's over 100 attempts a day to access our network by, again, improper foreign operations. it's something that we have to be cognizant about every day, and even though media is here covering this budget, if you get a chance to remind people in any of your stories, any of your engagement with the public, it's something that every day you have to think about, you have to be cognizant of, not only from today the city of Schenectady's perspective, but your own enterprises or your own home use or use on a smartphone. So again, I look forward to working with the council on that. This recaps some of the larger revenue adjustments from compared to the 2022 budget. Again, I look forward to working with the council as we go through and do a more detailed analysis on these. This budget that I'm submitting to the council today uses approximately $5.8 million in ARPA funds. A little over $4.1 million is detailed here. When you figure in the fringe benefit rate, which is a little over 70% in the city, gets us up to the $5.8 million. I've outlined some of the bigger expense adjustments in the budget, and again, looking to go through those in greater detail with the council as we go through the budget hearings. Distressed property still drives many of the costs in our city budget. The court system put on hold foreclosures during COVID. We're now restarting our foreclosure process, and in this budget, I'm including $2.75 million in revenue from housing sales. And again, where we do foreclosures, we've had people who were adversely affected because of COVID and other things beyond their control. And we want to work with those individuals to make sure that they stay in their homes. But there's still a large group of property owners within the city that do not pay their taxes. A lot of the ones that we're foreclosing on now and starting the process, they're actually up in the law department stuffing the envelopes on some of the required mailings that are going out today. Those started pre-COVID. People hadn't been paying the taxes. We were ready to start foreclosure on it. And they're really not a sympathetic group, but they drive up our cost. And so, again, I appreciate the council's support in working in the past through our homes program. And again, look forward to, again, continuing that as we create home ownership opportunities. And when you look at this since 2013, we've sold 718 properties. A majority of those have been converted to owner-occupied structures and residences. That program has generated just under $16 million in revenue since 2013. And the more significant fact is the reducing expenses and the annual tax revenue that we generate by putting those properties back on the tax rolls. The next 4 slides detail breakdown in the budget. Have $23.4 million is allocated for the police, $12.8 million for the fire department, finance department's related items, $5.8 million. The Office of General Services has allocation looking for $14.3 million. This budget in total, the operating budget, is looking at just under $104 million in total expenditures. You have to, again, we've had a growth there, but we've, for the first time, have signed all of our collective bargaining agreements with the exception of the PBA, which will be back to the table with them at the end of this year. So those numbers reflect that contract settlements, our projected expenses going forward. The assessed taxable value in the city of Schenectady continues to increase. It's because of the economic activity. It's the high quality of services that the men and women of the city workforce deliver, and it gives people a reason to invest here, to live here, and to visit here. One of the really great stories that we've had is the stability in our tax levy. Our tax levy, going back 2015, was a little over 31 million. The budget I'm submitting today requests a tax levy of $31,629,000. That is only $12,000 more than what we requested in 2015. The budget I am proposing has no tax increase in the tax rate. Looking at a rate, again, to continue at $12.99 a thousand of assessed value. Again, the school district, the pie chart breaks down, the school district is the biggest component of your property tax bill in the city of Schenectady, with the city and county making up those proportional amounts. Again, I'm looking for no tax increase in 2023. This chart shows our 5 years of tax cuts, an adjustment that we did because of COVID, and then really stability over the last 3 years. And one of the criteria with the ARPA money is that you cannot reduce taxes. So it has given us some revenue to offset our losses and again, allow us to continue to deliver the high level of services that the residents have expected. Our garbage collection is a great service. We provide every week to the residents of this city. Our new labor agreement with Local 1037 and other related costs are increasing the expense there. And what I am proposing to the council is that we raise the fee $1 a week for collection of garbage in the city. This is still very competitive when you compare it to what other vendors charge in suburban areas. This chart outlines still having a deficit of $413,000 in costs versus expenses, but it doesn't take into account some of the revenue that we generate from the Village of Scotia and some of the commercial collections that we do, which brings it back up so that it's more revenue and expense neutral. I have a summary of the water, sewer, and golf funds. Again, looking for stability there in terms of the services that we provide. We have made major investments in our water and sewer infrastructures in recent years, and to keep these funds balanced, I'm proposing what will be approximately a $1 a month increase in our water rates for the average household in the city, and approximately a $2 a month increase in our sewer rates. That picture, I'm sure everybody recognizes that. That's one of our water pumps in the well field in Rotterdam on Rice Road. The next 4 slides have a recap of highlights of the capital budget, which I'm proposing. We use $8.4 million in ARPA money. A lot of that has been pre-approved by the council for projects we're doing. Looking for approximately $7.6 million in general fund expenditures. Again, look forward to going through these items with the council as we get into the line-by-line review and to show how that we're appropriately using money as an investment to continue to allow city staff to have the equipment they need and to be able to deliver the services that the community wants. Last Sunday, we had an electric vehicle show here, part of Drive Electric Week. It turned out to be the largest event in the country, so I thank Livingston Energy, Alex Sutherland, some of the staff that worked to put that together in conjunction with the Green Market. Brought people out, we're raising people's awareness. If you look at our partnership with the county and other municipalities, we've done some solar independently. We've been part of that consortium. We have saved since February of 2021 about $527,000 in expenses that we would have paid for electricity if we had not done these proactive items. And we continue to look in this budget to purchase more electric vehicles. increase the internal efficiency of city operations, that will allow us, when, again, with that tax rate being stable, we want that as the message going forward. And so with that, I again thank the council for your past work, look forward to working with you in the future, and will be available for any questions that the press might have. Thank you. Okay, no questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
I was down talking to some residents today, and a lot of them concerned. There was some flooding a couple weeks ago, and some of the neighborhoods, some of the streets, and concerned about infrastructure. Wondering where in this that addresses that.
You with Channel 6?
Yes.
You ever talk to your news, or within the news when you talk to the weather forecasters? In that storm we had.
Yes, we talk. We have a meeting every. We have 2 meetings every day.
We have 2 inches of rain in roughly an hour. We do not have systems that will handle some of these global warming events. Now, we can go through the individual things that we're doing with water and sewer, the upgrades that we do on an ongoing basis, but sometimes you pick those events that are really beyond anybody's control or design features that have been placed in, whether it's the city of Schenectady or any community. Look at the places in Florida today. Were they designed to handle the water? It's something that we have to be cognizant of. But next question.
Do you mind if I follow up?
Sure.
Because we had some residents saying that it happened a few times over the summer, 3 to 4 at that, when rainstorms had come on through. Concerned about storm drains being then cleaned out, why they weren't working. I'm not sure if those were all done.
We have a routine maintenance program that we put in place. We take complaints when they come in. And again, Mr. LaFond is here. If there's a specific question on a drain that you have or a pipe, we can provide you that information.
Are there pieces in this budget that address some of that? Are there aspects of this that has addressed that at a greater scale than the past?
In terms of maintenance? No.
In terms of maintenance?
We do the ongoing maintenance, and then there is money in here for capital investment going forward. Next question.
Can you just go through the $5 million ARPA funding? Can you just go through the thought process of using ARPA funding in the budget to close those gaps?
And at the microphones too, please, Matt. Thank you.
Again, we got the money coming in, so it's to create stability. It's one of the items that we can use ARPA money for. And so that's my recommendation to the council, to use that and not to draw on other funds or resources that the city has at this point in time. As we get back into the foreclosure process and are able to deal with more of the distressed property, hopefully that's going to lower our overall expenses and enable the city to generate revenue both from the sale of the property that we're going to do in foreclosures and then tax revenue when we put it back on the tax rolls.
Well, that's good. Another, you'll take it.
Sure.
Hey, just saying.
Sure.
I had a couple people also ask about staffing in some of the departments and where that might be addressed in today's budget proposal.
We're
in terms
holding.
of replacing people, that
Well,
some of the other sections have been post-pandemic things like that. I know
well,
last year's budget
there's
you
2
did
things.
that, and
The budget last year and the budget that I'm proposing have staffing at basically the same level. It's the element of recruitment is a different factor. And we are, again, aggressively recruiting, and we are seeing a shift where there actually are more applicants coming in. So I expect that we're going to be able to move more to a full staffing level in 2023 than we were in 2022.
what kinds of recruitment did you have in mind?
We don't use television ads. We do LinkedIn. That's a little joke there, busted on you. Is that it's LinkedIn, it's some of the social media, it's just standard outreach. Some are different depending on the particular position that we're trying to fill.
Mayor, over the years, we've done stories with you where some neighborhoods around the Union Street area have had difficulty with snow plowing over the years. I believe it was because of the lack of workers to do the work. Does this budget address any of that we've seen?
Again, the budget would allow us to be adequately staffed. It becomes the timing of the event, the size of the event. There's a number of variables that play into it. We want public's cooperation in terms of some of the parking, getting vehicles off the street when we have a storm, and then to be able to, our goal is to plow snow curb to curb, really within the 24 hours after a storm ends. Sometimes that's not quite as smooth as what we would like, but that's our goal.
Does this budget address any of those issues?
We have, in this budget, we have adequate staffing and adequate equipment to handle what I believe would be any normal large snowstorm or multiple ones. But the extraordinary ones, sometimes we always play catch up on. Thank you. Everybody, enjoy your afternoon. Have a good weekend.